My name is Roger Berge. I'm Superintendent of Schools of Peoria Heights Community Unit School District number 325. I'm beginning my 51st year here and 37th year as superintendent. So I want to talk a little bit today about some things that I remember and stories that have been told to me and things about the history of Peoria Heights, which may be of some interest to our people in our community and of course our visitors. Probably I should start with November 21st, 1898. The village of Peoria Heights was incorporated. It's over 100 years ago. And so again, being in my profession that I am, I should probably start talking to you about the history of our schools, and then get into some other areas of history in our village of Peoria Heights. And I should mention that we went through a situation in 1957. The peoples in Peoria Heights were very, very instrumental in building Richwoods High School. They built that, helped build that in 1957. Our students went there until 1966. It was taken away from us and annexed into the city of Peoria. Our students went to Woodruff High School. At that point in time, our people in Peoria Heights said, we want to have our own high school. So we built it. So they went there from 1966. They moved from Richwoods to Woodruff, went there until 1970-71. They came to Peoria Heights High School. That's more or less the history of our schools in Peoria Heights. So we've had a long, illustrious history of our schools in our community. 1894 to 1899, they had a hotel in Peoria Heights, and it was at the corner of Prospect and Clarendon Avenue. Just 2 or 3 blocks north of where the Grandview Drive sits. It was on the riverside of Prospect Road. Very famous hotel, but it only lasted 5 years. In 1899, it burned to the ground. It was never rebuilt. Also very famous, it was called Doc Ray's, the old tavern, was built in the late 1800s, and it burned in 1920, but it was a famous tavern in Peoria Heights. We use the word tavern. It was like a large club, a nice, very, very nice restaurant. This stood at the corner of Grandview Drive and Prospect Road. And that brings about the point where I said it burned down in 1920, but on October 12th, 1910, that time President Theodore Roosevelt visited Peoria, visited Peoria Heights. He rode up the Grandview Drive, which was just recently constructed, in a Glide automobile, which was made or built here in Peoria Heights, ate dinner at Doc Ray's, the old tavern, which we just mentioned, and then on the way back downtown, he looked out over Grandview Drive, over the river, and said, this is the world's most beautiful drive. So he sang that. We come up with the call letters WMBD for our local radio and TV station. And the first radio station of WMBD was on Glen Avenue, just 1 block off of Prospect Road. A couple of other interesting buildings and businesses, organizations in Peoria Heights was the Bartholomew Company. That's the corner of Prospect and Cyberlane, and that company was built where the former Pabst Brewing Company was. Now we have the old offices of Pabst Brewing still standing there, but that's where the original Bartholomew Company was, and that's where they built the Duryea automobile. Was invented over on Duryea Avenue where Bradley University is today, but 18 the Duryea automobiles in the armored vehicle by Duryea was built in a Bartholomew factory here in Peoria Heights. Also later on, the Glide automobile was built in that same company, which remember we said that was the automobile that President Theodore Roosevelt rode up Grandview Drive. So it's significant for the village of Peoria Heights. We've had 2 automobiles that were made and manufactured and built in Peoria Heights, the Glide and the Duryea. Also in that building, tires were made, and from the pneumatic tires that were made, they made bicycles. Also another plant in Peoria Heights made bicycles. From 1896 to 1897, the Rouse Hazard Factory, which is on the east side of Prospect Road, behind what we presently know as Great Boy Kawasaki. That building's still standing. Probably the oldest building in Peoria Heights. But in there, they also made bicycles. And one time there, and at the Bartholomew Company, where Pabst's site was, They made more bicycles than any place else in the United States. And one of the brand names was a Scythe bicycle, a big high-wheeled bicycle. And on our school, we have a clock symboled after what they look like. So many people ask us, why when they go by our Peoria grade school, why is that old-fashioned, high-wheeled bicycle clock on the side of the school? Well, that was because that's the type of bicycle they made in the Rouse Hazard and Bartholomew Company here in Peoria Heights. A couple of other significant things that deal with the history of Peoria Heights is many people have heard of the El Frisco amusement park. It was down on Galena Road, right along the Illinois River. Huge amusement park. Ferris wheel, merry-go-round, roller coasters, bathing beach there. Very, 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 very popular amusement park. And there are pictures and postcards from that park. And it was built, I should say, in 1906. Lasted into the late 20s, early 30s. Eventually, they used it for a beach, for swimming. Probably closed down around 1944, right towards the end of World War II. Also, I might mention that Peoria Heights is the home of the Peoria Country Club, which was built in 1897. And a little known fact about Peoria Heights, for 2 weeks in 1910, there was a National Guard camp that trained and housed several thousand soldiers. Corner of, really it ran from Lake Avenue down to War Memorial Drive. It's called Camp Deneen. It's named after the governor of Illinois that year, Governor Deneen. So that's an interesting statistic about Peoria Heights that most people have never heard of. Might mention too that from 1906 it was built to World War II, it was torn down. There's a 450-foot tall observation tower in Peoria Heights, at the corner of Glen Avenue and the Grandview Drive. And they tore that down to use the steel, starting to deteriorate, but to use the steel for the World War II effort. And I might mention, as I said, I mentioned El Frisco Amusement Park. One time through Peoria Heights, we had a streetcar line running through Peoria Heights. They had a viaduct or bridge that went from roughly, probably Lake Street to Kelly. The bridge went up and over the present train tracks there, which the streetcar ran up to Cyberling. Also it had a track ran on out Prospect Road. Peoria Heights is a wonderful, wonderful community. A lot of history in Peoria Heights. For a small community, a lot of things have been done, built, started, organized in Peoria Heights. We today have a beautiful observation tower that overlooks a beautiful Illinois River Valley. So we're very, very proud of our community and very, very proud of the things that have been achieved here. Many wonderful people, leaders in our community came from Peoria Heights here, so we can be very proud of our community. And we just want to mention a couple of things dealing with the history of our community, what has gone on in the past, and just a rough, general, brief history, and talk about some of our sites, plants, businesses, schools in our village of Peoria Heights. Thank you.